East London, 2022. A man sits in his car, waiting. He lights a cigarette, checks his phone. Then, in a flash, a single shot tears through the night. One bullet, one kill, one cartel's message delivered. This wasn't a mugging. This wasn't a street fight. This was a hit, ordered by the shadows and carried out with surgical precision. The victim? Daniel Smith. A name you've probably never heard. But in the world of Albanian organized crime, he made one deadly mistake. Tonight, we expose the truth behind his murder and the violent network of killers, traffickers, and gangland power players that orchestrated it. Hit that subscribe button if you crave real crime stories with no fluff, just facts, fear, and the faces behind the trigger. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a murder. It's a warning. Walthamstow, East London. The streets hum with life. Markets shouting their last deals, mopeds buzzing past chicken shops, kids bouncing footballs against graffiti-tagged walls. It looks ordinary, too ordinary. But when the sun drops behind the high-rises, everything changes. Behind those corner shops and off-license shutters, another London emerges, one stitched together with fear, silence, and money. Over the past decade, this patch of East London has quietly transformed into a front line, a staging ground for something much bigger than postcode wars. The Albanian Cartel moved in, not with gang signs or street beef, but with quiet ambition and ruthless calculation. They don't parade around in Balenciaga. They don't freestyle threats on Snapchat. They move with surgical precision. Kilos in, cash out, no noise, just results. Their network runs deep. Safe houses, encrypted phones, front businesses from car washes to corner cafes. And when someone steps out of line, the punishment isn't loud, it's final. Daniel Smith wasn't part of the inner circle. He wasn't family. He wasn't even fully trusted. He wasn't a gangster. He wasn't a shot caller. He wasn't a killer. But he was close enough. Daniel Smith knew things. And in the world he was in, that was more dangerous than holding a gun. Walthamstow raised him, not with comfort, not with privilege, but with resilience. Council estates, concrete towers, block parties, and police sirens. It was a jungle in tracksuits, and Daniel moved through it like smoke, quiet, unnoticed, but everywhere. By 22, Daniel had earned a reputation, reliable, smart, discreet. He wasn't loud like the drill rappers he shared streets with. He wasn't reckless like the teenagers fighting turf wars for Instagram clout. No, Daniel played a different game. He became a fixer, a middle link in a golden chain stretching from South London to Albania through cocaine networks, burner phones, and silent transactions behind barbershops and kebab shops. He kept product moving, kept cash clean, kept his head down. And the Albanians? They liked that, especially the Cadre clan, a shadowy syndicate with roots in the Balkans and reach across Europe. They ran guns, drugs, and blood loyalty. For a while, Daniel was just useful enough to be protected, but not important enough to be watched, until something changed. In late 2021, a major shipment went missing en route to Luton, worth over £350,000, no explanation, no trace. At first, no one pointed fingers. But in the world Daniel moved in, silence is dangerous. Silence breeds suspicion. And Daniel's name came up. Maybe he took it. Maybe he knew who did. Or maybe someone higher up needed a fall guy. Whatever the truth, the Cadre clan didn't wait to investigate. They made a decision. And Daniel Smith's fate was sealed, not in a courtroom, but in a dark alley, whispered over encrypted messages in a language he didn't speak. Because in the underworld, it doesn't matter what you did, only what they believe. Walthamstow, February 2022. Gray skies hang low like a warning. It's just after 3 p.m. School kids spill into the streets, tired mums push prams home, fried chicken joints fill with noise. It's the kind of day London forgets. Except this one. Daniel Smith steps out of a corner shop on Hoe Street, a can of Rubicon in one hand. the other in his pocket. He's not smiling, not rushing, just walking, like any other day. But what he doesn't know is, they're already here. Parked across the street, a blacked-out BMW X5, engine running, 2 men inside, faces hidden, hands gloved, no plates, no mistakes. They've been watching, waiting. The shooter steps out, hood up, face down, each stride calculated, like a shadow moving with purpose. CCTV captures the moment. Daniel looks up. Recognition flashes. Too late. 3 shots. Silenced, but deafening. A 9mm handgun, modified, military grade. The kind that doesn't jam. The kind that doesn't miss. Daniel goes down, hard. The pavement goes red. 1 shot in the chest, 1 in the neck, 1 clean through the skull. Execution. People scream. Cars stop. But the shooter? He doesn't flinch. He walks, slow, unfazed, back to the BMW. Gets in. The car pulls off. No wheel spin, no panic. Like they rehearsed it 100 times, and in less than 15 seconds, Daniel Smith, once a quiet middleman, now a cartel liability, is gone. Dead. In front of a dozen witnesses, broad daylight, no disguise, no escape plan needed, because they never expected to be caught. This wasn't rage, it wasn't random. It was a statement. In the cartel world, when you break the rules, they break you. And the street where Daniel bled out? That was the billboard. 15 seconds. That's all it took to end Daniel Smith's life. But the thing is, that was just the beginning. Because the real plan, the real operation, it kicked in after the bullet stopped. The BMW X5, same one used in the hit, was later found torched in a remote industrial estate near Essex, an hour outside of London. No fingerprints, no DNA, no CCTV within range. Classic Albanian cartel cleanup. Kill, burn, vanish. Police believe the shooter and his driver were extracted less than 5 minutes after ditching the vehicle, likely using a second car registered under a fake name. That second vehicle? Never found. Burner phones were dumped, clothes destroyed, weapons smuggled out or sunk into the Thames. By midnight, whoever pulled the trigger on Daniel was already off-grid. Some intelligence pointed to a safe house in Dagenham, used as a temporary lay-low spot before travel documents were arranged. Others said they moved east to Kent, where ferry ports offer a quiet slip into mainland Europe. Interpol flagged a car crossing into Calais less than 2 days later. Private vehicle, no flagged IDs. But the pattern matched. Fake documents, cash in euros, clean phones, no digital footprint. From there, Belgium, then Serbia, and by the end of the week, Tirana, the capital of Albania, home turf, where loyalty runs deep and the law looks the other way. A London hit, pulled off with military precision, then buried, under layers of shadow networks, smuggler routes, and cartel money greasing the wheels all the way home. This wasn't just a hit, it was an operation. And the shooter? He didn't just disappear, he was erased. But here's the thing about London. It's always watching, even in the dark, even when you think you've covered every track. And somewhere in all that smoke, they left something behind, a crack. Tiny, but enough. And that was the beginning of the end. So by now, we know this wasn't random. Daniel Smith wasn't a bystander. And the men who pulled the trigger? They had a head start, a very professional one. But here's where things shift. Because while the cartel was vanishing into the smoke, the Metropolitan Police were quietly tightening the net. Before we go deeper, if you're still with us, drop your clue in the comments. Let us know. Did you catch the detail they left behind? That one tiny crack? Let's talk about it. It started with a license plate. Not from the torched BMW that was scrubbed clean, but from a camera 3 streets over. A single plate caught in motion. A white Ford Transit van parked for just under 2 minutes, facing away from the scene. Nothing special, except that van was later spotted near Dagenham, twice, within 36 hours of the hit, and it was registered to a shell company in Luton, a company with no listed directors, except one, Altin Kodra. Now, to most, that name means nothing, but to organized crime analysts in the UK, that's a known associate of the Durrës-based Kamani clan, one of Albania's most feared narco families, linked to trafficking, arms, and contract killings across Europe. Altin was never sloppy, until now. Because on the third day after Daniel's death, ANPR data, automatic number plate recognition, pinged that same transit van heading south on the A2. Destination, Dover. Police acted fast, but by the time they got there, the van was abandoned. Clean again. Except for one thing. A fragment of a burner phone, wedged in the air vent. The IMEI number, still partially intact, was enough to trace the device's last tower connection. And it lit up near the Barking rail yard, just 10 hours after the murder. That's when things cracked wide open. From there, detectives began triangulating calls, overlapping burner activity, and pulling cell tower dumps. They identified a pattern. 5 numbers, rotating every 24 hours, used only to ping each other. By day 10, Interpol joined in. And by day 12, British authorities had enough to raid a suspected safe house in Forest Gate. Inside, false passports, stacks of euro notes, one silenced Glock 19, and a fingerprint on the sink faucet. A partial, but enough to match, Aryan Duca, a 28-year-old Albanian national, no fixed UK address, but known to French and German police as an enforcer for hire. And Aryan, he wasn't the shooter. He was the driver, the one who made the clean getaway. But here's where it gets interesting. When police tracked Aryan's last known burner connection, they found another location in Kent, an Airbnb booked under a fake Polish name, and there they recovered security footage from a private neighbor's doorbell cam. Footage that had never been turned over to police. It showed 2 men, one tall, one stocky, wearing gloves, moving like they'd done this before. And the tall one? He briefly looked up, just enough for facial recognition to do the rest. Besnik Leshi, the suspected trigger man, a former Kosovar paramilitary, no criminal record in the UK, but known to Europol for suspected hits in Belgium and Germany. Besnik was already gone by the time the footage was found. Interpol believes he crossed into Bosnia 2 days before the footage was even reviewed. But thanks to a joint Europol-Met operation, his safe house in Novi Sad, Serbia, was raided in early November 2022. And Besnik? He didn't go down easy. But he went down. He was extradited to the UK in December 2022, charged with the murder of Daniel Smith, and linked to 3 other cartel-related killings across Europe. The escape was smooth. But the mistake? It was thinking no one was watching. Aryan Duca was the first domino to fall. But it was Besnik Leshi, the alleged trigger man, whose trial would shake London's organized crime world to its core. He arrived under heavy guard, extradited from Serbia, flown into RAF Northolt on a cold December night in 2022. He didn't speak, didn't resist, didn't show emotion. Charged with the murder of Daniel Smith, 3 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. His legal team tried to delay, citing unlawful extradition and insufficient evidence. But what they didn't expect was the mountain of digital forensics waiting for them in court. The Crown versus Leshi began in February 2023 at the Old Bailey. Public interest was high, but the courtroom was locked down. Closed sessions, heavily redacted documents, rumors of witness protection arrangements involving former cartel affiliates. The prosecution's case? Brutally methodical. They reconstructed the hit, second by second, using tower pings, traffic cam footage, dash cam data, even a reconstructed 3D model of the getaway route. They linked the burner phones. They proved the shell companies were created using forged Albanian passports. and they brought in an expert on Balkan organized crime who testified that the Kamani clan had been using the UK as a strategic hub for nearly 4 years, with Daniel Smith caught in the middle of a turf conflict. It turns out Daniel had ties, not deep ones, but enough. His brother, Michael Smith, was under investigation in connection with a £2.1 million cocaine shipment that vanished before it reached Liverpool. No arrests, no charges. But the cartel doesn't forget, and Daniel, unfortunately, became the message. The defense? They claimed mistaken identity, no DNA, no direct witness. But that doorbell camera footage, the one with Besnick glancing up for just a second, it was everything. Facial recognition matched the image with a 97% probability. Interpol flagged his past movements. The Glock found in Forest Gate matched a shell casing lodged under a parked car at the crime scene. And the kicker? A recovered voice note, sent via an encrypted app that had briefly cached data on a cracked server. A voice believed to be Besnick's, saying just one thing, Puna e paster. Clean work. The jury took 3 days. On March 17, 2023, Besnick Lishi was found guilty on all counts, sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 38 years. Within months, UK authorities launched a joint operation with Europol and Interpol, codenamed Operation Black Veil, targeting Albanian criminal logistics across Essex, Kent, and Greater London. More than 17 arrests followed, several extraditions, and over £4 million in assets frozen. Daniel Smith's murder wasn't just another Gangland hit. It was a turning point, a reminder that international organized crime doesn't care where you're from, only what message your death can send. But it also proved something else, that in a world built on silence, fear, and shadows, all it takes is one mistake, one glance, one fingerprint, one forgotten piece of tech, and the ghosts, they start to bleed into the light. If you've made it this far, thank you. This is Crime Pulse. We built this story piece by piece so the truth wouldn't stay buried. If you want more true crime stories like this, real cases, real voices, real consequences, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. We drop new stories every day, stories that go deeper than headlines. Let's keep pulling back the curtain, together.